Welcome to the lecture on the Business Model Canvas. The Business Model Canvas is a strategic management and entrepreneurial tool. It allows you to describe, design, challenge, invent, and pivot your business model. Before we start to talk about the Business Model Canvas, it is important to get shared understanding of what a business model is. Please pause the lecture video and write down what you think would be a good definition for business model. If you were given these four options, which one do you think best describes what a business model is? The answer is A, implementation of a strategy. In colloquial terms, the business model explains how the firm intends to make money. It is a plan implemented by a company to make a profit from operations. Strategy and business models are linked. The strategy of a firm is the set of goal-directed actions it takes to gain and sustain superior performance relative to competitors. In order to bring alive a formulated strategy, it is translated into a business model, which includes how the firm conducts business with its buyers, suppliers, and partners. It also shows what expenses the firm incurs and how it generates revenues. In short, the business model describes how the firm creates, delivers, and captures value. We will now introduce the Business Model Canvas. The Business Model Canvas is a tool which allows you to describe, design, challenge, invent, and experiment with your business model. It was first introduced in the book Business Model Generation, which helped practitioners worldwide to better understand what a business model is and how to discuss business models. I have also provided a link to the website here, which has many free resources if you are interested in this topic. Next, let's take a look at a small introductory video on the Business Model Canvas.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the Business Model Canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. The channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. The key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the Business Model Canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
So here is again what the Business Model Canvas looks like. As you can see, there are 9 basic building blocks that make up the business model. Your customer segments include the people or organizations for which you are creating value and that use or pay for your products or services. There exist different types of customer segments. Examples are niche markets or markets segmented based on demographic characteristics. Each customer segment has its own value proposition, translated into specific bundles of products and services that create value for that customer segment. A company's value proposition is what distinguishes itself from its competitors. The value proposition provides value through various elements such as newness, performance, customization, design, brand, status, price, cost reduction, risk reduction, accessibility, and convenience or usability. Your channels describe how you will deliver the value proposition to your targeted customer segments. Effective channels are fast, efficient, and cost-effective. Examples are company-owned stores, partner channels, or a combination of both. The customer relationships focus on the kind of relationship you are establishing with your customers. Examples are personal assistance during sales and/or after sales, or self-service, where a company provides the tools needed for the customers to serve themselves easily and effectively. Your revenue streams describe how and through which pricing mechanism your business model is capturing value. Examples are sales of physical goods, subscription fees, licensing, and advertising. Your key resources are the indispensable assets in your business model, which are needed to sustain and support the business. These can be human, financial, physical, or intellectual resources. The key activities describe the most important activities in executing a company's value proposition. BIC, a producer of cheap disposable consumer products like lighters and razors, would need to create a very efficient supply chain to drive down costs. So that would be one of their key activities. Since it is hard, if not impossible, to own all key resources yourself or perform all key activities, you will need partners to leverage your business model. Once you understand the business model's infrastructure, you also have an idea of its cost structure, which includes fixed costs, variable costs, economies of scale, and economies of scope. You can find much more information on the business model canvas online, as well as examples for the 9 building blocks. Let's now look at an application of the business model canvas. Have you heard of a company called Nespresso? Nespresso is the brand name of Nestlé Nespresso, an operating unit of the Nestlé Group based in Lausanne, Switzerland. Nespresso machines brew espresso and coffee from coffee capsules, or pots, in bar machines. Nespresso follows a differentiation strategy focused on the high end of the at-home coffee market. This is a picture of an espresso store in Europe. Let's watch a short video advertisement for Nespresso next.
Very ugly music. Dark. Very intense.
Balance.
Unique.
Mysterious.
An intense body.
Delicate and smooth. With strong character.
Right.
Rich. Very rich.
I would say Latin American temperament. Deep and sensual.
Yeah.
And a delicious aftertaste.
You're talking about Nespresso, right? Yeah. What else? Nespresso. What else?
Okay.
This video shows you how to apply the business model canvas to Nespresso. It is narrated by Alex Osterwalder, which is one of the authors of the book Business Model Generation. I have provided the link to the original video here as well.
My name is Alex Osterwalder. I'm the lead author of Business Model Generation and co-founder of Strategizer.com. I'm going to walk you through the business model of Nespresso, a company that sells coffee in the espresso business. So let's look at the value proposition first. It's composed of 2 products, the Nespresso machine and the pods that go with it. And we're going to look at the distribution strategy that Nespresso has. They sell the machines through retail to households, which means they earn a one-time transactional sales from selling the machines. Most of that money goes to the key partners, the machine manufacturers, who they work together with. Then for the Nespresso pods, they have a totally different distribution strategy. They only sell the pods through their own channels. Started out with mail order and call center, then they built Nespresso.com, and today in the biggest cities of the world, you'll find Nespresso stores as well. This is interesting because it meant that they had to build distribution channels as a key resource in their business model, because this is the first time that a Nestle-owned company sells directly to households. Now, why do they use different distribution channels for the machines and the pods? Well, they use retail because it has the broadest reach possible, because they want to get the machines into your household. Once you have it in your house, you're actually locked in because you can only use Nespresso pods. That's so-called switching costs, which prevent you from going to another machine manufacturer. And they defend that through the patents that they have in the key resources. And some of those patents actually expired last year, which means they need to renew their business model to a certain extent. Now, once you have the machine and you're locked in, you're going to have to buy pods from Nespresso, which means they earn money from repetitive pod sales. They create so-called recurring revenues. They change an entire industry from moving it from a transactional business to a repetitive business with recurring revenues. So interestingly here, they have recurring revenues, they have direct sales with higher margins, and they ask you for 5 to 6 times more for the coffee that you pay. So they get people around the world to pay much more money for the same amount of coffee. Now let's look at the left-hand side of the business model canvas to see what they need to have to do what they plan to do on the right-hand side. First of all, they need coffee. So they work together with coffee growers, and they try to source some of the best coffee in the world, which they put in the pods. And the pods is something that they manufacture themselves. So production of the pods is an important key activity, and they have production facilities to do that. They churn out 12 billion pods every year, which is one of their main costs. Another important activity and key resource and main cost is marketing and branding. Obviously, when you're in consumer goods, you need to put a lot of money into that. And the last piece here that's interesting is that because they sell directly to households, a decision made on the right-hand side of the canvas, they had to build up business-to-consumer distribution logistics, which we find on the left-hand side of the canvas. So now we have everything that's important for the success of Nespresso on one piece of paper. And interestingly, when Nespresso started out, they had a totally different business model around exactly the same product, and that almost went bankrupt. So it's only after a couple of iterations of the business model that they were able to find the business model that you see on this piece of paper and that led to a multi-billion-dollar business. So the difference was not the product alone. The difference were all the pieces here on the business model canvas that led to the success of Nespresso.
Please look at the assignment document for instructions on your business model canvas homework. It consists of 2 major parts. In Part A, you will watch 6 videos that were developed by the Kaufman Foundation in collaboration with the makers of the book Business Model Generation. The video series teaches you how to go from having a business idea to pitching a validated business model and value proposition. In Part B, you will redesign the business model of a neighborhood pizzeria using the business model canvas. Please look at the assignment document for the specifics.